Sure. I graduated in 1988 from Wilfrid Laurier University in the Bachelor of Arts program in Political Science, and then subsequently again in 1989 in the Diploma in Business Administration. And presently I'm a councillor for Ward 2 in the City of Kitchener. Thinking back to that time frame, I would say that you certainly had some inklings, but certainly in my case, I wasn't 100% clear where I was going to go. I always had political interest. First got involved, I think, in politics when I was 14 in high school, helping out on various campaigns and so on. But during my university years, I got a job at the City of Kitchener during the summers, from April to September. And that worked into a part-time job during the year. And as I got into my final year and I started applying for employment opportunities, I was applying primarily in what would be considered in the business community, companies like Amex and Xerox and so on. And then I ended up having a conversation with our CAO at the time, who asked whether or not I'd considered any municipal opportunities. And quite frankly, I had, but one of the challenges in local government is it's not always clear where those entry points are. And we had a lengthy discussion, and he talked about some opportunities with the municipality, and I ended up applying for them, and that's how I ended up in the end at the city. My very first summer when I got hired, I was hired to do the research for the municipal code. So it was basically reading through 11,000 bylaws that the city had to determine what needed to be repealed, what perhaps needed some updating and so on, because eventually they were all consolidated into one of the first municipal codes in the province of Ontario. So it was a lot of work with our legal department and the city clerk in terms of developing that documentation. Subsequent to that ended up moving into a variety of jobs in the clerk's department and the mayor's office over the summers and part-time during the year, helping, because I think I was sort of part of that first generation that was computer trained. It involved setting up databases, helping them over summer holidays with the various jobs that were in the clerk's department, the mayor's office, covering off for people and those types of things. In fact, was there when we got the first PCs in the city at the clerk's department. Back in, that would have been in 1987 actually, and helped coordinate the installation of that. Sure. So when I first came on board at the city, it was actually in the planning department. So recalling that I worked in clerks and mayors during the summer months and during the year. My first full-time position was in the planning department, working on the first fire station location study, which basically was a modeling tool to look at fire response times from each of the stations that we had at the time, and where in fact should those stations be located to reach the optimal goals in terms of fire response, first on-scene vehicle and so on. So I did that for a number of months. Didn't actually see that project through to completion, because I was asked to consider a position in the IT department as the client services coordinator, which was basically the setup of the city's first help desk for our staff. So as they had IT issues and concerns, it was to help them and support them throughout the organization, and had a staff of 4 that worked together with me to do that, and eventually that led to a tech support role in the IT department. Did a lot of the coordination of new acquisitions of computer hardware and software through the organization, including helping coordinate the move from the old City Hall into this building in 1993. Then in 1994, the opportunity came to seek office, and made the decision to make that transition out of staff life into political life. Well, I mean, quite frankly, there isn't a typical day. They can vary significantly. I mean, we look at yesterday as an example. I had meetings with a wide variety of community people. Some that were particular issues and problems. Some that were looking to get initiatives going in the future. Today we had a briefing session as an example on future planning and development in the southwest quadrant of the city, which is really the last major development area in the city of Kitchener. I'm doing this interview, attending a Prosperity Council luncheon with the Premier, and the day sort of goes on from there. I think first and foremost, obviously, you need the ability to be creative. You need the ability to be critical in terms of your thinking and analyze various issues that are brought before you. I think one of the things that's important to remember, and I particularly say this to anyone who's thinking about seeking elected office, you're the kind of person that only typically works in black and white environments. There's not a lot in municipal council work that's black and white. As I say to people who think about running, 10% is black and white, the other 90% is different shades of gray, and the right shade of gray is right one week and is a different shade of gray the next week, depending on the circumstances. And a lot of it is really having the ability to consensus build amongst people, because often you do have parties that are on different sides of an issue. And it's never good to have winners and losers. I mean, sometimes, unfortunately, that's inevitable, and that's the real world, that's life. But generally, I mean, my approach in trying to deal with neighborhood issues, neighbor issues, community issues, is to really try to focus on consensus building and finding situations that really end up being a win-win for everyone, or at least everyone walks away feeling reasonably happy with the direction that you're going in. So I think that's important. Obviously, good communication skills, ability to interact, to work with others, those are certainly important as well.
Politics.
I do. I mean, I think we need to remember that going forward, there's significant changes happening in the workforce as the baby boom generation retires. We've had Linda Duxbury, who's an expert in demographics from University of Ottawa, I believe, come in and speak to our staff about the trends and the changes. So there's going to, I think, for young people that are in university over the next decade, be significant opportunities as the baby boomers start retiring in all aspects. Whether it's planning, finance, social work. I mean, there's going to be, I think, numerous opportunities. Certainly, I know one of the programs that's available through the province, particularly for kids that go on and do their masters in public admin and so on right after university, is actually an internship program, and I know we've hired some of those interns here to intern with us as they go through that program. So that's something to maybe consider. And certainly, we do our share of summer hiring in areas like planning, parks and rec, and others for folks that are potentially wanting to get some experience that could then lead into a career post-university. For folks that do go and get involved, for example, in political campaigns, those often can lead to opportunities in a member's office and so on, particularly if you're young and energetic. And it's a great way to start out your career. You meet lots of people, make lots of contacts, and then see where your interests go and transition those skills into those interests going forward.